700 on this call instead of 7 right now, but hey, we got to start somewhere, right? Good to have you guys with us today. I am live from the world headquarters of Inline Insurance Solutions. Man, that sounds good, doesn't it? But there is no other headquarters. It's right here in my front room on the corner of Santa Rosa Drive and Zamora. So anyway, good to have you guys with us today. Let's see who we've got online. Jack Breeze, that's somebody I hadn't seen or talked to in a long time. Jeff Williams. And by the way, I may be calling on you guys, so make sure you're connected where you can talk. Dave Burlew, good old friend of mine. I might have to get back up there to Michigan and see some of you guys again. Ivory Brooks, good to have you on the call today. Jeff Williams, Lillian, Brian. We got Mike Merhide. Hey, you owe me a phone call, Mike. I'll try to get a hold of you again today. And Natasha out in California. I'm going to unmute you here, Natasha. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is good to have. It's awful early out there, isn't it?
It is, but it's good. The sun is up already.
Well, you are actually the newest member to UandIWIN, I believe. There might have been one after you, but you're the newest one that's on this call anyway, and the earliest one that's on this call. It's 6 a.m. out there in California. You're going to be glad to hear some of the news probably that I'm going to announce today. Is we're going to be changing webinar times a little bit to make it a little easier for you guys to grow and get other people on this call without having to get them up at 5-something in the morning. So how about that?
Well, that's good. Sounds good.
Good deal. And I understand you're already getting plugged in. You're about to start on live lead transfers.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Hopefully today.
Well, fantastic. Well, welcome to UandIWIN. Good to have you with us. And I don't know if you're a coffee drinker, but I hope you got some coffee there.
All right. Thank you.
Good to talk to you.
All right.
Okay. I may be calling on some more of you too. So Lillian, get dialed in. Come on. I may need to talk to you too. Hopefully we'll have Gail's office on here soon, and she always brings a lot of people to the meeting out there in Georgia. Well, our agenda today. Good morning. Upcoming webinars, lead programs, got some news and updates, and a little sales tip. We're just going to chat a little bit about some things and talk about why we're doing them, what we're doing, where we see this headed. And, you know, the thing about it is, why is today good? You know, I mean, people say good morning all the time and without it really meaning anything. That's why I put this on here, to get us thinking about what's good about today. Well, I can tell you lots of good things going on in my life, but there are many agents out there that need to hear about UandIWIN. You know, I was actually looking up right before I came on the call because we've got some growth going on. We got growth going on in different places, but we've got some new growth going on out there in California. Dave Haas is fired up and doing some things, really getting plugged in. But I was just curious how many life insurance agents. I was looking for California, couldn't really find a number, but look, this was back in 2010. Well, it says answered in 2013. There were 411,500 insurance agents. Now that number is that is actually life insurance agents, and the Labor Bureau expected that to grow at 22% over the next 10 years. Now, if you just broke that down, I mean, if you just think about this, and California being the most populated state in the country, obviously there's not 1/50th of those in Montana, so there must be a lot more where there's more population. Let's just say there's 20,000 that aren't State Farm guys, that aren't Allstate, whatever. What if there was 10? What if there was 1,000? What if there were 1,000 independent agents that were open to a new idea? You know, all you got to do is find one at a time. That's all it takes. And we're going to be talking about ways that we can do that. But I'll tell you what, you know, UandIWIN is still And we've got some new life and breath coming back into this again. We've been up, we've been down, we've been kicked around by changes in healthcare laws and what that's done to the agency and everything else. But listen, our comp plan, the training we have, the products we have, everything is there for people to be very successful within UandIWIN. Now, another reason it's good, I'm going to keep talking about this because we're going to get our focus more on life insurance where it should be. Something that will sustain us throughout the year, not just during open enrollment periods. You know, that's great that we can jump in there and during an open enrollment period add to our monthly income with either med subs or health insurance. What about the rest of the year? What are we going to do? Did anybody, I would imagine that nobody would be on this call if they made enough money in that open enrollment period that they don't need to do anything else the rest of the year. Correct? That's why we're all here. So what about life insurance? When over half the population needs us, that excites me. That fires me up. That's what has me jumping out of bed in the morning, firing up the coffee machine and start getting ready to talk to people, is the fact that there are so many people that need my help and your help, everybody that's on this call. So anyway, why is it good for you? What's good about this day for you? Hey, Burley, what's good up there in Michigan?
I haven't been.
Hey, Dave.
Too many other things going on.
Well, I'll try to call somebody that's paying attention. We're talking today. Brett Stedman.
Hey.
Brett. Hey, Kelly here. What's good down there in Georgia today?
Well, the weather's great. Other than that, I've been going to a lot of networking groups. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, sure can.
Yeah, I've been joining some networking groups in which I'm sure all of you are probably at least somewhat familiar with, where different kinds of businesses get together and they refer each other business, you know, depending on what a person is looking for. And obviously, I mean, I don't just mean insurance businesses, but you know, auto repair shops, sign companies, realtors, everything. But you know, I really like that concept personally. You know, obviously you got to go out yourself, but I mean, it's just like supplemental to what you're doing yourself. If somebody just says, here, call Brett because he does that, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, and that is a good thing. And networking groups and ways to network like that, that definitely should be a part of everybody's prospecting, just one of those prospecting tools in your kit. So, fantastic, Brett. Good to have you on the call today.
Thanks.
All right. Well, let's keep moving here. Let's see what else we got to talk about. I'm sure I got something to talk about. Upcoming webinars. Okay. I mentioned something was gonna make Natasha happy, and probably Donnie and Gregory and Steve, other new agents that are out there in California, and agents that they've already been inviting to UandIWIN, is Monday morning we are now going to have that Wednesday webinar that we have had is moving to Monday. It's going to be 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. Okay? We're going to move it an hour later. I've talked with leaders in the organization about this. Obviously, just because I think something's a good idea doesn't necessarily make it a good idea. But it seems like other people thought that this is a good idea. Lillian just told me she's not hearing the audio. Is everybody else hearing me? Brent, are you hearing me okay?
Yeah, sorry, I had my mute on.
Okay.
You weren't hearing me, but yeah, you're coming in.
Okay. Yeah, if somebody can just type in, yes, I'm hearing you, just so maybe Lillian, maybe Lillian needs to, here, let me send her a message real quick. Or Brent, could you just tell her to
I'll send her the info because she's it looks like her audio isn't connected, so I'll take care of it.
Okay. So Monday morning, starting this Monday, and I'm going to pop in and look at the calendar here in just a minute, is we're going to do life insurance and leads. I'm going to have a product or concept highlight each week. We're going to talk about the challenges and results of working those live lead transfers. We'll also discuss other lead programs too. You know, that's obviously not the only lead program. Everybody isn't working that. Some agents are working others. I want to hear about what's working and what's not. I want to hear from you guys what's working for you and what's not. You know, and one thing about this is I'm going to be working this lead program as well, okay? And I'm going to do it consistently, and everything that I tell you should do, I'm going to keep doing it. I may get in. Now, one thing I want you to understand, I've been selling life insurance for 28 years. I don't have an S on my chest, though. I know some things. I have some experience that maybe gives me a little different insight walking into a presentation than you might have with less experience. But I guarantee you, you know, if you can do everything that I can do with the leads that are out there, if not everything, maybe what you lack in experience, you make up for that in how many leads you have to work starting out. And then as you improve, you can work less leads to get the same results, or you can keep working the same amount of leads and make more money, which probably isn't a bad thing, okay? New time, too, for this webinar. Now, I've already got that changed on the calendar, I do believe. Let me see here. Let me go back. If you go out here to the UandIWIN website, you click on today's events and go over to the calendar. Remember what I've showed you guys is if you just pop in here every morning when you fire up your computer and you just look down this right here between this box and the date, what you see right there is that was added this morning, all right? Life insurance, leads, and sales training. If you look at next Friday, what you see is a little mark there, and it says updated. What was updated was that time, okay? So the time changed on that webinar, and you see the same time. So 10 o'clock Eastern, and what Gail is going to start doing, Gail has had agents come into her office down there in McDonough, Georgia, and she's had agents come in and be on the webinar, then have her meeting afterwards. She's going to move her meeting to the front, and then she'll have the agents there to participate in the UandIWIN webinar afterwards. So let's see here. We had Lillian. Okay, Lillian got her answer. Mary, thanks, Mary, for letting me know. So I take it everybody else can probably hear me too, or they'd be logging off or something. Okay, so that's what's changed on the calendar right now. There's probably going to be some more webinars added on here by next Monday or so. So, you know, just pop in here. Just make that part of your normal routine. It's just look and see, is anything added in there that I need to take a look at, I might need to be involved in, and go ahead and get registered on it. All right? Now, what else we got to talk about? So let me find somebody here. Let me pick on somebody. Hey, Jeff, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, Kelly. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, what do you think about moving this webinar to 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock?
Well,
How does that work?
Well, the thing is on the we're in a Central Time zone, so it's 8 o'clock now for us. So you know, that extra hour to get into the office from my apartment is going to be really nice. And Fridays are one of the days that it's a slower day for me, so that'll be good. And then Monday, what a way to get your week kicked off with a great webinar on how to get more business and how to work these leads properly.
There you go. Okay. Well, I appreciate your input. I know you're never bashful about speaking up. So thank you. Brett asked the question, will the webinar schedule for the week still be sent out on Sunday? Yeah, however that's set up in the system now, that's still going to be whatever has already been happening within that calendar system, and the emails that go out are going to continue to happen. You're still going to get, if you go out and register for this webinar, for instance, you're still going to get an email the day before and an hour before with your link and letting you know, reminding you about that webinar, okay? Everything's going to still be the same on that. Now, the Growth Track webinar series. Now, here's something and Brent is not going to be with us on a regular basis anymore. He may still pop in from time to time, depending on his schedule. We talked about that last week. And here goes Kelly, changing things up.
Go for it.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm going to do, okay? And I'm going to be talking about this more in just a little bit, but Dan Hagee and I have both launched this week. We both kicked off a recruiting method. His is different than mine. Two different ways that we're seeing what kind of results we can get. We know we can recruit. We know we've got a lot to recruit to. And part of that is, we also need to lay out the process that we can hand off to Natasha and Ivory and Dave Burlew and everybody else that's on this call, and be able to hand something off to you that you are able to say, okay, step A, I call somebody, whatever. And step B, get them interested. Then you send them a link to watch the video for launch. Okay? Now, we may get back to where we're doing this as a webinar, but here's what it's all about, results and everything else. We aren't getting new people on here to listen to this every week. If we had new people every week to listen to it, it'd be worth doing it every week. Otherwise, we've got great recordings of each one of these that I can send a link to, and I can have somebody walk through this as fast as I can get them through it. So I can send them the launch webinar and then call them back, maybe do a join me and just look at the website and say, okay, you couldn't find that part, well, here's where it is, and then move them to the next step of what the resources are, and then help them on the phone figure out, after they watch this, help them figure out where they need to do the next step, which is getting plugged in. What are their strengths? What's their experience? What do they need help with? What are they already strong at that they can jump in and start doing right away? What companies are going to fit them the best, right? And then moving on to share. Now, so these recordings are going to be on the UandIWIN YouTube channel. You'll have a link that you can send out to people and then walk them through this process. A part of recruiting is we're looking for people that obviously, like Natasha, joined UandIWIN, getting on leads already. I mean, that's what we're looking for, people that will follow, will find stuff, do stuff. If you tell them, okay, here's the steps to get plugged in with this, and they do it, okay? That's how this is going to work. Will we go back to adding this in at the end of the webinar? If I've got new people on here every week, I guarantee you I will do this every week. Maybe we'll kind of combine this into a recruiting webinar, because I love what you've done with this, Brent. I mean, along with all the technology and tools that you've created, this is a great idea, what you've done here. And we're going to capitalize on this, but maybe in a different kind of way. Instead of just having the same people hearing it every week, we're going to use those recordings in a way to walk people through the process.
Perfect. Well, that's what it's designed to do, so take it away. Send it out, blast it out, talk about it, yell about it, email about it, tweet about it. I don't care. Just get it out there.
There you go. There you go. So anyway, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that recruiting. Line lead transfers. Do we have Lamont on call today? That guy's probably on another appointment today. Boy, we're missing a lot of the Georgia people today for some reason. The numbers are actually up, but we're missing some of the usual suspects. Okay, I'll give you Lamont's testimonial. How about that? Lamont has been working these live transfer leads. When I got him on the phone the other day, because I knew he was one of the people that had been, and I wanted to see, what he's discovering with it, what kind of results and everything else. What? So I just asked him, how many transfers have you got and how many sales have you made? And he was disappointed that he only made 3 sales out of 40 transfers. Well, let's just do the math on that. 40 transfers cost $140. 3 live sales, I didn't even ask him how big they were. I know about what the average live sale is, and I know what mine are. I know what pretty much everybody's are. I can look at production reports and see that. So with those 3 sales, what if they were $50? What if they were just $50 a month term cases that pay 90%? Well, that's $600 times $600 in annual premium at 90% is $540 of annual commission. So that's over $1,600 in annual commission at a cost of $140. What kind of return on investment is that? Well, that's pretty darn good if you ask me. Tell me another lead program you can get that kind of return on investment. Now, Lamont still feels like a little frustrated with that being his only results. Partly because he's got a number of people in there that he's chasing a little bit. He's chasing after them. Well, look, in any lead program, any prospecting, you're always going to have those people. And if you continue to chase them, shame on you. He needs to do 40 more transfers, right? Is the answer. And he's not a real experienced agent, so I believe with some discussion and figuring out what he's saying and how things are going and what kind of results and what kind of feedback he's getting from these leads, he can increase that maybe to 4 sales out of 40, 5 sales out of 40. I don't know what those numbers are, but I'm going to figure it out personally what they are for me starting next week, starting on Monday, right? So one thing about this too is Brent, you've been also looking at Sandy Margolis with National Marketing Group, and you have been working together looking into another source that doesn't have as many drops that on these transfers, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we constantly do, and a lot of it's not talked about, but we are constantly looking at new things and trying to improve on what we have. So with these lead transfers, like we already moved to one source, and I think the system before, if you had been on the system that we first started out with and have seen what we've been able to do with this new system, it's been a tremendous difference. But just because something's working well, we know that there's a great system out there that we can utilize. So we're always kind of researching and figuring out what we can do to make it better. And me and Sandy was the first one to introduce me to the first system, and we kind of have branched off after that, and now we know exactly what to look for, exactly what issues that we're facing and what seems to be the norm with different things. So we are actively looking into different areas just to increase the rates even further. So I mean, I think it's great that that Lamont was able to get 3 out of 40 transfers. But if, with training and everything, if we can boost that up to 5 or 6, just from a couple little tweaks in how he's pitching different things, then, that's great. And then also if we can boost a source that's giving him more or rather less dropped calls to where he's getting able to talk to more people in the time that he's putting in, and that bumps it into 10, 10 transfers out of 40, then we're really making some headway and getting into a nice system. So the system definitely works right now. Sandy's been tearing it up, and he's had a couple IUL cases, final expense, term life for the most part. He's been selling a lot of business through this system, but the reason is because if you look at Sandy's reports, though, he's putting in 120, 150 transfers per month. So it makes a big difference when you're being consistent, and like you said, Kelly, Sandy's one of the guys that he started out calling through a phone book, and he would just open up his phone book and start manually dialing. So he sees the gold in this system where it can dial out. When he's made at the end of the month, 20,000 dials versus what he would have done manually, it makes a tremendous difference. But he's dedicated, and he'll go in every single day almost. I'll see him on the dialer running it for his 2 hours. So he's gotten a schedule set. He's very consistent, and because of that, he's seeing consistent results. And Sandy's been selling for years, so he's very used to selling over the phone. He's comfortable with it. He has a script down because I'll tell you, even before he started this transfers, he practiced, what he's going to say, how he's going to say it, and he tweaks it over and over and over again to where he's finally getting into a roll. That's where our script that we give out to everybody has come from, is really Sandy's work done trying to figure out how to get this thing critiqued. But that's the biggest thing I'd say is 40 transfers is good, but Sandy's putting up 150, 125, regularly every single month that he's running through, and he's getting a lot of different sales. The practice that you get from that, the more comfortable you get, the easier you get on the dialer. That's really what it's meant for. This company, actually, when you really look at it, if you were to go with them directly, you have to buy 200 transfers minimum. That is the dead minimum order that they require you to buy with them to get started. And the reason for that is because you have to be doing, a good amount of transfers each month to really find success with the system. The averages that we talk about, all those things are based off of doing 200 transfers at least. So the more you do, the more you run through, the better those averages equal out to. There's possibilities that you can go through different batches or bad batches of data when you're dealing with really, really small numbers like 20 transfers or 30 transfers. So that's kind of testimony for Sandy and Bob Kessler. They both run it in and out, and regularly will have 1 to 200 transfers each month. So staying consistent, like you're saying, is key to these things. And we'll give you more information on any news sources that we come up as we test them. We always like to test and do some testing with people that are familiar with the dialer system before we branch it out to everybody. But that is the end goal, and just know that we are working in the background to make not only the lead transfer system, but UandIWIN and other things within the company. We're constantly going back and researching those things to make them better. So stay tuned for that.
Hey, one quick question here. Billy Moore asked, Brent, do you get the scripts with the transfer sign-up?
Yes. When you sign up for the transfer, you're going to get our, right now we have a specific one for life, because life has been our kind of tried and true recording. It's been doing really well and consistently. Health insurance, we do have health insurance leads. We do have other scripts, but our main script is for life. So especially when you do a life, meeting or a life recording, you're going to get the life scripts. You're going to get the invites to the Wednesday webinar, which I think you're about to talk on, Kelly. But the training that you're going to get with life, we have a lot of experienced life agents, and we have those life scripts, so you're going to get access to all that stuff. But like I said before, like I said in the plugged in meeting, I think, it's like having a hammer and just looking at it. So even if you have the script, you can have the best script ever made. God himself could have made you a script for life insurance and say, if you just do this, this is what's going to happen, and you're going to get sales off of it. But if you just sit there and look at it, it's not going to do any good at all. You have to actually put it into practice. You have to take what we're giving you, these lead programs, the scripts, the trainings, all these things, and put them together and actually put them to use once you hear them and once you go through them. So That's another key part is actually using the scripts once you get them. But yes, you do get them when you sign up for the program.
Okay, now Dan and I have started recruiting this week. Here's the thing: is of course, those of you who've been around know what I've been through in the last 2 years. Just a little thing with cancer happened. Anyway, thank the Lord, I'm doing fantastic today. But there's been a lot going on, with the changes in the ACA and how it changed our whole business, and what that did to the agency and so many other things. And I've had health issues. There's a lot of leaders that have gone through things. But here's what I know in my 28 years in the business and growing agencies and everything else is you never stop recruiting, and we made that mistake. Okay? We've still got some good people hanging around, but listen, things changed in people's lives. I was out for a while, not doing anything. There's other people that have had changes, that have had to make career changes or whatever. Maybe it was because they weren't getting the help they needed. Who knows? But things change for whatever reason. People move on, and some people hang in, and some people are going to grow a big business within UandIWIN. But we stop bringing. What is bringing new people in? For one thing, it fires up the old guys that have been around, right? All of a sudden, it's not so easy to be a leader around here anymore if when new people are coming in showing you up on your production. And so it kind of invigorates the people that have been around, and they feel like, wow, something is happening here. And new people come in and see what we're doing compared to others and get excited about it and do good things. So, we stopped recruiting. Well, we're back, okay? And Dan and I both kicked off a process of recruiting this week with this in mind. We don't just want it to be what Dan Hagee can do, what Kelly Hemline can do, how we can, I could talk to and explain and everything, certain things to people in a way with my knowledge of UandIWIN that maybe Lily and Brian can't because of my experience, how long I've been with the company, how long I've been in the business and talking to insurance agents, right? But we're going to make this to where it's something that's duplicatable, that's replicatable. So we can hand it off and say, listen, if you will do this, and Ivory Brooks made the comment a while ago, jokingly, I'm sure it was jokingly, he made the comment a while ago, this sounds like work. That's exactly what it is. One thing that Kelly will never tell you, you will never hear me say, making sales is easy, recruiting agents is easy, building a UandIWIN business is easy. You won't ever hear that because it's work. Nothing falls in your lap. If it does, then it's probably going to go away just as fast, right? So we're doing two different things. How are we doing that? Let me just give you a little brief because I'm going to be talking about this on webinars consistently, telling you what kind of results you're going to meet people on these webinars that we have brought into the organization by these methods, okay? Here's the way Dan's doing it. See these Champions programs we got over here? Great programs. Final Expense, Term Life, this is Indexed ULs, the Retirement Reality Advisor, and Annuity Champion. Dan is putting a cover letter with one or two of these flyers and mailing it out to 20 agents a week. Now, one thing happens. That's mailing it out and then agents going and registering on this website is kind of reactive, right? Are some people going to go sign up? Are some people going to seek him out and call him and say, hey, I want to get involved in this? Yeah. What's that number? 1 out of 100? I don't know. He actually had 4 people register on the Term Life Champions website with the first mailing of 20. Now, is that going to be consistent? We're going to figure that out. We're going to do it enough to where we can say, if you mail out 10 a week, here's what you can expect. But that's the reactive part. The work, what's going to make you successful, how you're going to get people, is getting proactive, right? Is making those phone calls. Is when that registration hits, you're on the phone with them. Finding out who they are, what they've done, what they do, how we might be a fit. And some of them are, and some of them aren't. Like I said, it's not easy. It's work. Okay. Now, that's one way. And we're going to start giving you results, and I hope to have Dan popping in here, sharing that. Dan is awful busy holding this whole thing together with all the changes that have happened. And he is going to be doing this, as well as his wife, who has MLM experience. She is going to be getting involved in helping him recruit as well, helping him with this program, walk people through, and everything else. That's how he's doing it. How is Kelly doing it? Well, I just hit upon something the other day when I popped out here, and I was looking at I saw a thing in the CMS email about finding an agent on the healthcare.gov website, right? So I thought, well, I wonder if I'm on there, And I popped in here to healthcare.gov, and I scroll down here. There's find local help. Now, what happens when you do this is the first thing that pops up is share location. So I put in here Hazlet, Texas, right? Not Hazlet, Michigan. I know there's a lot of Michigan. And I need help getting coverage for myself or my family. Now, I wanted to see if I was on here. So show results. First thing you're going to get when you see the results is this right here. Agents are not even included. Now, again, I think it's on purpose, if you want to know the truth. I think we're not represented in the way we should be because people need agents, okay? That's another story for another day. Right here, show agents and brokers. Instead of off, we want that on. All those others go away, and now we got a list here. Who's number 5 on the list? Kelly and mine, okay? And these aren't just, now obviously, this is 3,592 results for Hazlet. That's a lot more than Hazlet, okay? Hazlet might have, I know Cheryl Stewart is just down the street. I know some of these are around. This one works in her office, but as I looked at this, I thought, wow. Now, all these people on this list are probably, if they were health insurance agents in open enrollment, are in the same situation that many of them are, I would assume, probably not the State Farm lady. But these independent agents, how many of these are independent agents that are facing the same challenges that you are, getting business consistently throughout the year, right? So here's what I did. I took this screen down to where I could open up a spreadsheet, and I put a spreadsheet right next to it, and I went down through here with Cynthia Kaufner being the first one, and I started capturing. Now, who's not on my list? I'm not putting State Farm people on the list, Allstate, all those, forget that. But, all these ones that are Gmails and there's Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas. I don't want any home office people. HCSC, same thing. So I'm not picking those up, but I'm picking up all the Gmails and all the ones that look like, here's Chad at chadhaynes.net. Obviously, he's on my list. Courtney Carter at Gmail, right? I captured it. It took me less than a half hour at night to capture 50 of these into a spreadsheet. I loaded them up into my contact manager. The first email went out. Now, what's that email say? That email, and I don't have the copy. I don't have the copy of it right now, and I'm closing my email. So anyway, here's essentially what it is, and I'll be sharing all this anyway with everybody. But it asks a lot of questions. I'm not telling them all about UandIWIN, about who I am, about anything else. I don't know who they are, right? So it's a lot of questions about, it starts out, I noticed that you were selling health insurance, certified to sell health insurance during the open enrollment period. What are you doing now? Are you making the kind of sales you need? Are you happy with your income? Would you be open to exploring an opportunity with some experienced insurance marketers? Boom. Questions. That's all it is. Now, first 50, got 5 replies in the first 12 hours. Now, that's not. those were the ones that just came back. In other words, that's reactive. I send something out there and I wait for people to. Now, if all I do with those 50 is wait on the other 45, I'm going to be waiting a long time, okay? And I'm not going to have any success. Well, number one, I got in touch with those 5 in a hurry and set times up. I actually have one more scheduled today. There's 2 right out of the gate that are not people that I'm looking for, or they're not interested in us, okay? 2 out of the 5 right out of the gate. There's one that would have to do it part-time, that if he's a follower, if he will, and a self-starter, and that's one thing it said in the email. I am looking for people with entrepreneurial zeal who are self-motivated and who want to better themselves. Are you one of those people? Okay. Now, so I talked to him. If I get somebody like that would be part-time and will follow direction, and I don't have to babysit them, manage them, talk to them 10 times a day, I can work with somebody like that. If they are somebody that just needs, there's something missing in what they were doing, so they had to leave the insurance business and go back to what they used to do. Okay. Then I'll be calling the other 45, if I don't hear from them, whether I hear from them or not, on Monday. And I'm sending out the next 50. Now, what happens once I call them? I am not going to call them more than once. Okay? Again, that's not the kind of person I'm looking for. If it doesn't appeal to them, what I sent out there, number one, either my message is my questions aren't generating any interest, and maybe I need to change that, which I'll try different things. Or number two, they're so busy, and there's somebody that just hasn't taken the time to look at that email because they're out there being successful. Maybe if I get them on the phone, maybe I can break through to them and show them a better way to have their success within UandIWIN. Regardless, I'm going to call through that list. I'll leave them one voicemail, and then anybody that doesn't reply is going to go into a group in my contact manager that I will drip email something once a month, every other month, until they ask to be off my list or join us, okay? Where I'll throw out a sales idea. And say something like, this is just one of the things that you would hear if you were involved in our weekly training webinars, and just see if I get, and just throw it out there. Now, that's reactive stuff, but that takes me a couple of minutes to actually go in and do that, because I've got a contact manager that makes this easy for me. So that's the 2 ways we're going about this. Maybe you got another idea. Maybe you got another way you want to approach it. All I know is we're having success already with both of these. We're going to get people plugged in and do it on a weekly, consistent basis, because I want to see bigger numbers on this call every week. And I know you guys do too. By the way, let's see if Gail, Lawrence, and your bunch, how you guys doing today? Somebody needs to unmute. Or maybe they can't. Okay, if you can, let me know, and I'll say hi to you. Anyway, we'll get this wrapped up here, because this time we should have been done anyway. Have you seen or heard anything that's worth sharing? Forward anything, company stuff, webinars, contests, ideas, anything you see that if you thought it was sounded worthy of something, shoot it to me. Maybe it'll show up on the webinar. UandIWIN, the number 4, agents@gmail.com. That's my agent communication email. I've got another one for business. A real quick sales tip, and this is just kind of a little tease for a lot of what we're going to be talking about on this first Monday webinar coming up Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. What's it really about? Okay? Life insurance. Is it about premium space amount, savings, tax-free dollars in retirement, cheap death benefits? No, that's the problem. Is too many agents approach it like that's what it's all about. How do I know that? I learned that a long time ago from somebody that took me from having a bunch of appointments and educating people about insurance and how it works and everything else, and not making any sales, to somebody that was knocking down sales and making trips and leading agencies and companies, okay? Because life insurance is about loving someone enough to make sure that kids get to stay in their home, dreams for education are still attainable, bills get paid, businesses continue, assets kept in the family, funerals and memorials can be funded. I've got a neighbor here that just lost his wife. She's 52 years old. Her mother died at the same age, 52, with the same type of illnesses, diabetic and related problems. Just terrible to see, to lose her, and they're good friends of ours, live just right across the corner from us. And because of her illness, she had been wanting to go to Graceland for years. She was a huge Elvis fan. And by the time life happens, right? First, they didn't go for a number of years because he was struggling in business. When he got his business really going well, which he's doing real good now, he's an electrical contractor hooked up with as a subcontractor with somebody that's building nursing homes, and he's doing fantastic. So, but by the time he got to where they had the money to travel, she couldn't because of her health. Never got to go to Graceland. They'd only been married 6 years. They got married late in life. Neither one of them ever had any kids. And that was something she really wanted to do, and he didn't get her there. That's one of his biggest regrets, is he didn't get her there. So anyway, she was cremated, and he's going to take her ashes with her family, who also wanted to go and take her. So sister and her aunt and some other people, and they're going to go to Graceland because of life insurance. The money was there. He probably has the money now, but he could have done it anyway. But the life insurance is going to help the whole family go, even some of the family that maybe couldn't have gone unless he had that, right? It's going to kind of be their little, last goodbye to, taking her to Graceland and seeing it, experiencing it themselves. Graceland's nothing. I've been there, done that. There's definitely things that are important to me. But here's the point. Here's what I'm getting at. Those are what life insurance is about. And if you are missing that, if you aren't keeping your focus right there, you aren't going to close more than 3 sales out of 40 transfers, right? You aren't going to get enough people to get in a dialogue with you about life insurance. So what is the first thing that I will be asking somebody when I get that transfer after I introduce myself? Why did you press 1? I want to know why they pressed 1 to find out about life insurance. And what are they going to say? Who knows? Every answer will probably be different, but here's probably a pretty standard answer. Well, you know, I know I need some life insurance. I just didn't know who to talk to. Don't you think that's probably a pretty common answer that you get if you ask them why they pressed 1? It's going to be something along that lines, right? Well, I'm interested because I don't have enough life insurance. I lost my life insurance work. I have something, but I wanted to see if I could get it cheaper, right? I want to know what. Instead of telling them what they need, I want to know what they think they need, right? That's when you help people get life insurance. That's when you make that sale. That's when you keep your focus on what it is for them, right? And once that person tells me, well, we've been thinking about, we know we need some life insurance, didn't know who to talk to. Well, what do you need life insurance for? Don't you think that's a good next question? Why do you need life insurance? I don't want to tell them why they need it. I'll help them. I'll nudge them. I'll suggest things that maybe are important to them, but they are going to make this transaction. They're not going to continue to talk to you. They're not going to set an appointment with you, and make it really stick and have a good dialogue if you don't put the focus on what's important to them, not what you think is important for them, but what they say is important for them. Well, see, that's what we're going to be focusing on Monday. What's it really about? And then how do you apply that to the sales process? Okay? All right. Wow. What do you sellers like? Questions and comments? Anybody? We're running out of time here. Got 3 minutes. I'll take anybody. First person that gets their hand up. Come on. Beat everybody else. Gosh, it's hard to get you guys to talk sometimes. Okay. Well, if nobody has anything to say, Brent, hey, we thought we weren't going to have you this week. We got you back. Any closing words here as you head out the door?
I mean, again, I'm excited. It's really, really encouraging and just exciting to see, you know, everything that we've built thus far finally coming together and working together and being able to really make something great. I think that's the best part of this, is just hearing how, you know, we can take the recruiting tools that we have and all the different things that we've got going with UandIWIN, we're finally making it a whole package deal. It's not, we have one thing over here and another thing over there, and if you really want to get involved, you can try out this over yonder, but it's everything's really coming together, and I think that as we move forward and we start this recruiting effort, that, you know, use the stuff that we have here. We have a ton, and I literally mean a ton of stuff and tools and resources, great things going that you can access, and I think if you're really serious and want to stay in this business and you want to make a go of insurance, it's a great industry to be in. I absolutely love it, and if you really want to make a go with it, then just start picking up some of the tools and going to work. Like Ivory said, it's going to take work. Well, yeah, it really is, but it's good work, and it makes you feel good at the end of the day. It's something that you can be proud of, and you can wake up in the morning and really want to do and have a drive to do. And I think we definitely have all the things in place now to do those things. It's just a matter of, you know, getting more and more agents, introducing them to the opportunity that we have available, and making the most of it for yourself. It's only going to be what you make of it. That's the best thing about UandIWIN, is it's unlimited, but the only thing that's going to limit it is the work you put in. And if you limit the work you put in, then you're just limiting yourself and the potential you have to make this a great industry and a great opportunity for you. So I'm excited just hearing this webinar today, and Kelly, and everything that we have going on, and the things and just how they're lining up and coming into play. I think that we have it finally. We just need to make the most of it now. So
okay.
Loved.
You guys haven't heard the last of Brent. You're gonna I mean, you're going to be using
No, no.
things every day that he's been involved in. And this guy's going to be running this company one of these days. He still hasn't lost that goal and dream. So, yeah, I'll be an old fart still, one of these days down the road, still recruiting and selling at 75 years old, and Brent's going to be running. So, anyway, all right. Hey, Mary Roberts did have her hand up, but she typed in her question. She said, will the Monday webinar be recorded? Yes, it will, but nothing like having you there live. Of course, I know some of you may not be able to make it, especially every time, but hopefully we can get a lot of good participation in it. And I moved it back to Monday, just like, we had that for a whole year. We had our Monday morning ACA webinar to deal with the issues and different things that happened about the ACA. That was a big help to a lot of agents. And the thing about doing it on Monday and moving it back to Monday is kicking off your week with, a fresh attitude. I guess you guys probably know that I'm going to be enthusiastic. So, if nothing else, I mean, get a little jolt of what I'm working on here. But I'm going to give you some ideas or something to go out there and apply every week that will hopefully make you some money. Now, if it doesn't, we won't do the webinar anymore. Obviously, it's not really helping anybody, but I have to believe that it will if we get people on there and we'll participate, especially new people. Now, I'm going to throw out this challenge again because maybe somebody that's on here was a result of this, but everybody focus on one agent coming to this call next week, next Friday, that isn't here today. One person in your downline, one person in your upline, one person that hasn't been actively involved, somebody new in the business, somebody that you met at a meeting at one of the med stuff certification meetings. Invite an agent, all right, and then we'll work on from there. Juan says, hey, Juan, one thing about that, you need to just wait on the certification. Actually, I don't know. I may give you a call on that. But it asked for an organization. What are they referring to? Just put one of the insurance companies. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, well, we'll talk to you about that. Hey, everybody have a great day, a great weekend. Let's get on this call Monday and see if we can't kick off the week in a good way. And God bless y'all. We will talk to you again very soon.